This segment of the Port Jeff Pulse is brought to you by Holistic Body for You, health coaching by Karen Sullivan.
Good morning. My guest, our guest, Kathy D'Angelo, correct?
Yes.
And of course, my co-host. How are you?
Hi.
You know, we're 5 minutes away from getting in from what I saw was 9 degrees on my not my calendar, but my temperature gauge on my car. 9. It's been cold.
Let's see what it is.
It's been so cold. We blew out a bulb today.
Really?
Yes, because the bulb goes from cold to hot, and not even hot, just warm, and it
Says
freaks
it's
out.
27 right now, going up to 38 degrees.
27 is 3 times as much as what I woke up to.
I heard 60 on Thursday. That's what I'm shooting for.
Yeah.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
So all this might
So
melt
we'll be
away.
I know, it'll be good. We start over. Clean slate.
I don't mind it. You live in New York, you expect snow. I actually love it. You get the soup out. Last night, the whole entire family watched a movie. First time that's happened in years. We'll talk about that later, but sometimes I like snow and cold.
Yeah.
Welcome, our guest, Kathy D'Angelo of Jefferson's Ferry.
Yes.
So the first question I have for you is a real easy one. I see your marketing, so you're doing your job, your marketing and sales.
Yes.
But how did the name come about? Because there's the ferry at Port Jefferson, and you know where I'm going with this. I know you've been asked this before.
You know, I haven't been asked it. Actually,
Because I'm a marketing guy, I think
somebody
that way.
said that. And I said, I have no idea. I know that it was like the brainchild of Mather Hospital, or Mather Health System, back in 1998, I believe. And I'm not sure exactly where the name came from, except for the fact that it is near Port Jefferson. It is near the ferry. The ferry has a lot of people, and we're like a cruise ship that doesn't move. So I'm not really sure.
There you go. That's it right there.
So there's
The cruise ship
really
that doesn't move.
You don't know. Makes it
Interesting,
more special.
Interesting enough, though, a lot of our residences are named after presidents. So
okay. The rooms, the actual.
a lot of the apartments
Okay.
and cottages that we have there, they're all named after presidents. We have Adams and Washingtons and Jeffersons and Van Burens, and
Very
so
cool.
they're all named
Okay.
after presidents.
Tell us about that physical space, because I don't believe I've been there. No, I have been there, and I'm going to tell you why I was there.
Oh, wow.
My grandfather was a very famous saxophone player, played around the time he was 85 years old, to many other 85-year-olds.
God,
This is
so-
probably documented somewhere there. He did a concert for,
Oh, wow.
for some of the
At
residents.
Jefferson's
Yes.
Okay.
It's amazing how many people have played there or done something there. It is amazing. Oh, that's awesome.
So I do have an experience there, but
Yeah.
tell us about the physical space there.
We are 50-acre campus, so we're pretty big, and we have 248 independent living residences, cottages, a variety of sized apartments, lots of walking trails, lots of amenities. We take care of everything there, so it's a great way to live.
And where exactly is it located for our listeners?
Right on the corner of 347 and Wireless Road. Probably people have driven by it 1,000 times and didn't
And
realize it.
who knew there was 50 acres there?
Hiding
Because that's
behind the
college.
wire fence.
That's college campus size.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big.
You know, I think Sacred Heart is 60 acres.
Oh, really? Wow.
So-
Okay.
We're close.
That's amazing.
We don't go up. There are only 3 stories, so.
And it's very, you can't really see it from 347.
Not really.
And I like that because, at least for the residents, it's very private and secluded. So
Yes.
they're not seeing all that highway traffic. Now, from what I understand about Jefferson's Ferry is that your facility offers, and correct me if I'm wrong, offers like transitional living,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
So maybe can you explain a little bit about what that is?
Sure. We are what's called a life plan community, which is actually a new terminology that came out with this year, which replaces the word continuing care retirement community. Because we really offer care, but predominantly we're independent, active adult community. We're
Okay.
independent. We have 248, as I mentioned, but then we only have 60 assisted living and 60 skilled nursing. But what happens is people come to Jefferson's Ferry, they pay an entrance fee to come in, and then they pay a monthly fee thereafter. That monthly fee doesn't change based on where they're living. We guarantee their care for the rest of their life there. So they come in, one spouse has to move to a higher level of care, they're still paying the same amount. Or if they both have to move to a higher level of care, they're both paying the same amount. that's really where you start to see the financial gains. We're like a long-term care insurance product.
That's
Okay.
fantastic. Is society getting older?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, there's a big wave of people
wave.
coming, and you start to see it when you look around. There's a lot more assisted livings popping up. There's a lot more continuing care retirement communities or life plan communities. We only have 3 right now on Long Island. One out in Greenport and one over in Port Washington. There is another that's working on its approval process out in Comac.
When you think of these facilities, you think certainly my father was taken care of in Florida, on the west coast of Florida. You do think of Florida a lot, but we have a few million people here. You know what I mean? So we have, I think, we talked about this in our real estate talks. We have this sort of thing going on where families are maybe even moving back with each other, and then
Yes.
maybe can't take care of the parent. Am I correct?
I-
There are different things happening now, right?
Well, in my experience, I've been in healthcare for over 30 years. And when I look at what happens to families, and there's very few families that do that really well, take care of their loved ones. It's a very difficult process. It's very hard to do, and it can strain a relationship very easily. So some of the qualities,
Now,
personal experience,
no
which my-
mother-in-law talks right now.
If Phil's watching, my husband, he knows exactly why I'm laughing. Yeah.
So it's really hard, and a lot of people feel guilty because they feel like, okay, I really want to do this.
I
This is
know.
really important, and I should be able to do this. But it really takes a special individual to do that, and in my experience, it's a handful of people who do that well. And when you look at, most people are a little easier on a stranger than they might be on a family
Oh
member.
my God, there must be all kinds of emotions going through just, let me make you breakfast, honey.
Loss of control, and
Yeah.
people feeling like, oh, granted, my decisions don't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. So
Right.
so.
Right.
But also, again, living in Long Island where you kind of need to work to afford to live here, there's probably the reality that you can't be home to care for that older.
So that's a very good point. I mean, there are no longer do we have the mom who stays at home and dad goes to work. It's just that lifestyle is totally gone, and you have families that are both working and raising kids and trying to
Right.
take care of parents. So you have sandwich generations and so forth. So
Yeah.
it's really, really very difficult. So this provides an option of companionship, peers, instant, friends, a community of people that support you. Without the family necessarily being there, or offering really a great relationship for family members. I look at myself when my parents moved to this type of community. I didn't have to be the one that they called when something happened. And granted, they would call,
Sure.
but I didn't have to drop everything and run because I knew it was already going to be taken care of, and I could get there when I could get there.
Right.
My relationship with my parents was, let's go sit down and have a drink.
Right.
And
Right.
chat about the day rather than, did you do this? Did you take your medicine?
Medicine,
Do I
right.
need
Did
help
you
with
eat?
this? Can I help
Right.
you with a bath? Those types of
Right.
things. So,
Your day-to-day operations, you're in sales and marketing.
correct.
So, as you said, a little different now, you're looking back, you're looking forward. What's your plan? How do you contact or make an engagement with people that may be coming into a facility like this 5 years from now? Is it that early?
Well,
Can it be?
yeah. I mean, because places like Jefferson's very often have waiting lists for the residents of your choosing. I mean, it's like you're making a move. It's not necessarily buying real estate, but you are trying to make a move, and we want to make sure it's going to be the best decision for you. Depending on the style of residence, there may be waiting time, so we encourage people to get on
Is there
the
a waiting
list.
time right now?
Oh, yeah, I
figured.
would imagine
Yeah.
there is.
Like a
Yeah.
large waiting time?
Depends on the residence.
Will it go up?
It varies,
Yeah.
because it depends on what happens at Jefferson's Ferry, the current residents.
So what I'm saying, if you're somebody who, and you'll structurally give me the picture better, but if you're, and I don't want to use ages here because I truly believe one could be young at heart. My grandfather was like a college student at 91, I'm not kidding.
Sure.
So, but if you know that, that time is near where you need, for example, assisted living, or what's the second type of care?
That's assisted.
Yeah, then you offer something,
Skilled nursing.
nurse.
Skilled nursing.
Either one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And you just know it's going to happen because of their history.
Mm-hmm.
Is there insurance? Is there things that you help them to plan to make that a goal to get into? Especially people that don't have family, and we know there's not going to be any help for them.
Coming into Jefferson's Ferry, you need to be healthy. You need to be healthy for a number of years, so you have to be pretty independent. If you start needing those kinds of services, you need help with medications and so forth, you really are looking at a move to assisted living, which is, being in healthcare for so long, when I look at people and they tell me they have difficulty with everything and they're not able to do anything, if it takes you 2 hours to get up and get dressed in the morning and then you need a nap after that, well then maybe if you got a little bit of help, your day would be freer and you'd have more energy to do the things that you really enjoy doing. But as I mentioned, coming to Jefferson's Ferry, because we're like a long-term care insurance policy, we do want people to be healthy coming in and extremely independent, being able to do everything for themselves. We have those things in place should they start to need those services down the road. But if somebody comes directly to me, we do take people directly into our assisted living, but it's a different financial arrangement at that point. We also take people into our skilled nursing too.
Okay.
Just give us an idea of your outgoing marketing, since that's what you spend a lot of your time doing, I would assume. Who are you trying to appeal to or communicate to? Would you be trying to communicate to the person directly or the children of some of the people coming in, or both?
It's a little bit of both. Predominantly our contracts are always with the residents,
Yep.
so obviously that's going to be our first and foremost, but children have a big impact these days. Because they're so busy and they want to make sure that mom or dad has got a place to be, and they're a little bit more savvy perhaps and been online and
Right.
looked at, so we do a lot of that type of marketing, but we also have people come in, visit, come for tours, we make phone calls, but we get a lot of people who just come to look. We have open houses periodically just so that certain people in the area can say, oh, let me just check it out and see
Right.
what it is, because they may not know. On Long Island, well, actually in New York in general, there are not a lot of life plan
No,
communities.
there aren't.
If you compare other states, if
Yeah.
you look at Pennsylvania, New Jersey, even Connecticut have more than we do because we are extremely highly regulated. So they're very difficult to open a CCRC or a life plan community here.
Okay.
So that's a tough one. But other states, there's hundreds. Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
and New Jersey.
And what'd you say we have here in Suffolk County? 3?
We have 3, and we have 13 in the state.
Wow.
The
That's
whole
not-
state.
That's not enough.
What is Bristol?
The Bristol is an assisted living.
That's only assisted living.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Have you had any experience with a parent or loved one that have utilized services like this?
No, but I wish with my dad, we took care of my dad at home for 7 years before he passed. And after my mom passed away, I wished that he had gone into a facility like that. I think his quality of life would have been so much better. And that's why I love Jefferson's Ferry, the concept, because it is transitional. And especially if you have someone that's maybe suffering from some cognitive issues like dementia and Alzheimer's, when there's a lot of abrupt change, that's not good for them. So if they're in a place like that, and
They just transition.
right, but they already know
Love
the
it.
staff and everything there, the surroundings, it's such an amazing concept.
So you have people that have may have 30 years ago made an effort to get into a condominium complex, and that's changing, right?
A lot of people still look at 55 and ups, but what they're realizing is once they get there, I have a lot of people who come from 55 and ups, and they're
where
making
they need
yet
a little
another
more,
move.
They
you
need
know?
a little more help and
Yeah.
support.
Yeah. I look at when my parents, they made a move many years ago. My mom passed away a couple of years ago, and my dad, my stepfather, is still there. And I have to tell you the support that he had when she passed away. But not only that, just their quality of life.
Right.
3 years after they were living there, he looked at me and he said, "These have been the happiest years of my life."
Aww.
And I said, "Really?" I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because I'm just free.
Yeah.
It's like simple living, very
Right.
easy." I watched when my mom was in rehab. I watched him. I saw how it worked firsthand, where he's going up to the skilled nursing, bringing her down to play cards with her friends and chat with her friends. Whenever I went up to skilled nursing to visit her, she was never there. She was always visiting because all of her friends. She goes, "Oh, so and so's here, and so and so's
Right.
there, and I'm going
Right.
to talk to."
Right.
So she was still
And she got
socially
out.
active,
Right.
even in skilled nursing, and she wasn't there for. I mean, she went there for rehab, but I had she actually had gone to a different rehab outside the community. Every time I went there, all she did was complain about the food and the this and the that. She
Right.
was not happy, and she was always in her room. And I said, that's how this works. That's why it works
Right.
well.
Right.
It's a sense of community. She knew all the staff. She knew all the people throughout the whole community. So when you transition from one level to another, it's not a big change. You know, when you don't feel good, you don't feel like going out and socializing with other people. But if you already know them, the whole idea
It's yeah,
You're
exactly.
comfortable. Yes.
Exactly.
Give me an idea of some of the activities that one could experience there.
Oh my gosh, it's kind of endless. Well, they're going to the Bolshoi, so they go to the Stoller Center all the time. They've had trips that would, travel. They did a cruise several years ago. It's you name it. It's
Yeah.
whatever
Right.
you would even think of doing. I mean, they're going to be doing the same thing. They have art classes. They have exercise, lots of exercise classes, Tai Chi, yoga, and it's all right there. They have trips out, wherever that may be, whether it's the mall or just, to the grocery store.
Right.
What do they do for worship services? Is there something on the campus, or do they take buses?
We have a bus that travels to the local either churches, temples, goes around the area. At the higher levels of care, you're more apt to see some services in-house.
Okay.
Very nice.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What else can you tell us about Jefferson's Ferry?
It's a great place to be. And it's really, here, well, I've been there for almost 5 years. I moved from Connecticut out to Long Island. Most people go the other way. I came out this way. And one of the reasons that I came here, I worked at a community in Connecticut. And when I came out here, what I was looking for is stable management, financially stable community, and a place where people decide to stay. That's what I was looking for, is kind of that
Right.
solid.
You were saying the
place.
company behind is very solid.
Yeah, and that's what I found in Jefferson's Ferry. I mean, the management at that time had been there since it opened.
Wow.
The CEO actually the CFO was part of the development of Jefferson's Ferry, and then they hired him back as the CFO in
that's
2009.
That's great.
And he is now our CEO because our CEO had stepped down a couple of years ago. So Bob Caulfield is now our CEO. And so familiarity, he already knows the place inside and out. We have a great management team that's been on staff, and most of them have been there at least, 5 to 10
At
years,
least,
I
yeah.
believe.
And
Very
that's
solid.
and that's the key right there.
Mhm,
That's the
mhm.
testament.
Yeah.
That's the testament.
And we are sponsored by Mather Health Systems.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
so we do share some board members with Mather Hospital.
Okay. There was a few partnerships you had. I saw at the bottom of your webpage, or at least a few logos. Was that other affiliate sponsorships or relationships you had?
We're affiliated with the Mather Health System,
Yeah.
as I mentioned, with our board members, but we are a standalone community. We do offer a lot of resources. We hope to be a resource for the community in terms of any elder issues. We certainly hope to be the knowledge in the area
Right, of
that
course.
people will go to first.
Now, you personally are the person that would go to the chamber meetings here in Port Jeff. Or you're the, if you
I
will,
do.
liaison.
I do many of those things, yes. Wear many
So you
hats.
get out there. Yeah. I mean,
I
even
try
the
to
show.
get out.
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
try to get out as much as I can. That's like a little tough when we're really busy, but I'd love to get out, and I'm really happy.
Yeah, and get out into the community
Yeah.
and share what Jefferson's Ferry is all about.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you here.
It's great.
Yeah, I didn't know the 3 types of care. I didn't know it was 50 acres. You know.
I didn't know it was 50 acres
Yeah.
because it's very deceiving when you see it on
It is.
Wisconsin Highway.
It is.
It's like I said, they've done an amazing job. Just there's such nice privacy, hedging around, that you do see when you make that left to go onto Wireless Road.
In terms of family visitation, do they sign in? Does it just work?
It's their home.
Exactly.
It's their home.
Exactly.
Right.
So, we want it to be the residents' home. This
It's
is where they
open, yeah.
live. It's a pretty open community. Obviously, when guests come in the front door, we want
Sure.
them to sign in so we know who's there. But, people come and go. We have visitors. We don't really have visiting hours.
Right.
Right, which is nice.
Yeah.
And so
That's
you still
nice.
have those musical concerts once in a while?
We have lots of music, lots of lectures. We have a lot of people. I would say predominantly most of our residents are teachers, We have a lot of scientists from Brookhaven National Labs, but we have all walks of life, all nationalities, religions. You know, we have a lot of different people there who are extremely interesting and wonderful, and I feel like they're all my family. You know.
Can the residents have cars?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Again, just like home. See, I'm
It's just
trying
like
to block
home.
it, but I don't.
All the apartments are just like an
Yeah.
apartment. They're fully
Right,
equipped
right.
with, you know, washers and dryers and, you know, all the comforts of home, microwaves,
Yeah.
dishwashers,
Right.
and everything.
But when you do transition, like when it happened with my dad, and my dad didn't feel comfortable driving anymore, if he was in a facility like that, how awesome would that have been? Because then that
Everything's in
transportation is there,
Mhm.
where they still feel independent to go to the store on their own and those kinds of things, which is great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Everything's in place. We do have regularly scheduled transportation that goes to the stores and the banks and post office and so forth, although we have a bank on premises too.
ATM?
We do. So
Alright.
we really we're like a little mini city.
Little city.
You're like a
We're-
zip code.
We tell people they live in a bubble because
Yeah,
every time it snows
right.
we have a happy hour, and so so we always have a party. And our chefs from Johnson and Wales, and we have wonderful
Wow.
food. So a lot of the residents just it's like one big party. And remember a couple of years ago we had like 2 or 3 feet of snow out here.
Yeah.
The residents were like, "Oh, gee, can I?" We're like, "No, you can't get outside. You
Yeah.
can't even drive out on 347."
Right.
So, but we were all plowed out, and we had parties, and so they
That's
don't think
fantastic.
anything's going
Maybe
on.
we'll do a remote show from there.
I
There you go.
think
Come
it
on
sounds
over.
great.
How great would that be?
I would love that.
Maybe a small talent show. I know there's some of the residences, they'd love to get on the radio, so to
How,
speak.
how much fun would that
Absolutely.
be?
There's a lot of
Absolutely.
really interesting people.
I'm
there.
sure, absolutely.
That would
Well,
be
thank you,
cool.
Kathy. This has been a very enlightening
Well,
interview.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any-
You're welcome back
Glad to
anytime.
share.
Any
Thanks.
events coming up that where like any of those open houses or anything coming up that you wanted
We
to tell us about?
We have an open house coming up on the 25th of January
Okay.
at 10:30. So
Okay.
We welcome anybody by.
Just stop in and check it all
just
out.
come on
Yeah, so
over.
check it out, 25th of January. We also have that art show right down the street there, if you
Yes.
remember,
Yes.
at Holiday Inn Express.
Yes, the North Shore Art Guild.
Your website is jeffersonsferry.org, is it?
Yes, it is.
Simple. So everybody can check it out there, check out the services, and contact you
Yes.
through the website as well.
Absolutely.
Very good. Thank you and good morning, and stay warm.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Thank you.